over the past couple days, I've been having a blast taking a bunch of really detailed pictures and sharing them with the world. Pictures that you can kind of get a unique aspect from space station. And I thought maybe it would be fun to share how we took a few of those photos and how we set them up. And they took a little bit of planning and making sure the sun and literally the moon were in alignment to take some of these shots. And so right now we're in the Dragon, and the Dragon has two windows. And I'll turn off this light so you can see outside a little bit better. And the camera will adjust its exposure as we get close. And you'll see the blue of the Earth and the horizon, the black of space. And then you look down and you'll see the Starliner is docked to the front part of space station, and we're docked to the Dragon up on the top part of space station. But really cool part is there's a window right there. And I was thinking to myself one day when I was looking at the Earth and the moon data that it would be really cool to take a picture from right there looking up at Dragon with the Milky Way behind it and a person sitting in the Dragon window. And so we wanted to set up that shot, but it was so dark outside when we were on the dark side of the Earth that you couldn't really see the Dragon. And I've noticed with the moon data that the sun would set and about maybe 12, 15 minutes later the moon would rise on this horizon right here. And I thought maybe that moon rising right there on the horizon would provide just enough light to illuminate Dragon, but not too much just so that you couldn't see the stars. And so we had to time the shot correctly. And so I'll show you a setup here in Starliner and the setup we had in Dragon to make that picture happen. From inside the Dragon, we had to set up lighting just right to match the exposure on the outside. So I'll turn the light on so you can get an idea. Over here, we have a light, and it was just too bright. Even on this light's lowest setting, it was too bright, and it was blowing out the shot. So we put a washcloth over the top and set this light on the lowest setting. We pan over here to the other side of the Dragon. I had another light off in the distance. Instead of using a washcloth, I just put this one a little bit farther away and set it on its lowest setting. And it's really dim. I mean, even here you can just see it's on its dimmest setting, because you can imagine when it's super dark outside, even the littlest amount of light coming from in here would overexpose the person's face against a deep star background. So we set up these two little lights in here in the Dragon, and then down, all the way down into here and into Starliner, and we set ourselves up for the camera shot down there. And I'll go show you what that is. Going down into Starliner. All right, we're gonna slide into Starliner, and it's kind of tough to get oriented here, but we're sliding up from the bottom into the commander's seat and up onto the display panel where they sit for ascent and entry and flying around rendezvous. And it's kind of tough to get oriented here for you, but as we look, this is an arm I've got bolted to the back or strapped, clamped down to the back of the seat, and it kind of turns out it's an adjustable arm. I got two of them together, and it comes up here to a camera. And this is the camera to take the shot with. And this black cloth is a shroud we have to block interior cockpit lighting from getting out and ruining the shot. And as we come up, it's a really tight fit. We're going to move this shroud out of the way and let the camera adjust the gates. Man, it's bright outside. But the camera adjusts really quick, and you can see this is the window we're shooting out of. This is the window that Butch and Sonny look out of when they're flying a rendezvous or flying the Starliner. And this is the shot. Now, we were just up there in Dragon just a moment ago, and that's what we were looking at. So we set up the camera in here, looking out that window. Turn the light back on, cover up here a little bit. We have this camera set up in here. We put all the settings into the camera. It's going to be 6400 ISO, an aperture of 1.4, and a 1 second exposure. So get it all set up, set the camera up to take a picture every 2 seconds and save them all. And then once all the lighting is right, the moon's going to rise in about 3 minutes. You set everything up, put the shroud up, and then set the camera going off, and then scoot out of here, shoot up into Dragon. Once you're in Dragon, hold real still, because normally when you're shooting a portrait at home, maybe you're shooting a 60th of a second, a 100th of a second when you have really good lighting, but the lighting is so dark that to shoot this long 1 second exposure, so the shutter's open for a full second, and the result is you got to hold super still so that you're not out of focus or blurry. But it's a super fun shot to take, and it took a lot of pictures trying to get this right, but we were luckily able to do the entire Dragon crew. So all four of us in the Dragon have our own portraits taken from in Dragon. Tilt that out, see if maybe you can see what that shot's going to look like there in the camera. We can see some light leaking through from around the shroud, and that's because we have this light on here, so the video recorder, I'm going to obviously turn that off before we go. But you can see the framing on the shot here. and get all the settings right. We've got the shot set up. This is going to take a picture every 2 seconds for a 1 second exposure, and we'll scoot up to the Dragon. And slide up into Dragon and into the window. We want to get super stable because these are 1 second exposures.